That's not how the Force works.
I don't care!
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
G'day guys and welcome back to Casual Rage. Prepare to start the show, R2. This is where the fun begins. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Casual Rage 195, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. And of course, this week there is a lot of actual, Star Wars news to talk about. There's some things that happened which were very conveniently timed. And let me just address this. I'm not actually feeling so good, so I don't feel like I'm looking so good. So I'm just going to stay off camera if that's okay for this one. I was thinking about completely cancelling, but there's too much to talk about. And there's a bit of a conversation going on right now that I want to actually get involved in, which has already sort of been addressed in the chat, which we'll get to in a second. So I thought I'd just push through. And also, too, like the Casual Rage 200 stream that I want to do. I actually need to try and start organizing some stuff for that because it's creeping up. That's like perfectly timed, I feel. Like it's perfectly timed in the new year. It's perfectly timed for basically the end of Skeleton Crew. So basically I need to push through. So bear with me, guys. I do apologize if I'm a little bit slow. I am drugged up a little bit and yeah. But let's push on, shall we? So let's address the chat real quick and say hello. We've got Melissa Lord is here. How you doing, Melissa? We got Star Wars Marvel Purist is here. How you doing, Justin? And this is sort of what I want to talk about. Star Wars is back, baby. And also Nitrium's bringing up something here. I've still got to watch Critical Drinker's stream, and obviously there's been a couple of things recently. I actually want to talk a little bit more about Knights of Melbourne. As well, I watched his stream too, or I watched the replay anyway, and he wasn't happy, and rightfully so. He shouldn't be happy. We need seal claps for Critical Drinker. I have some opinions on this topic, of what's going on with Skeleton Crew right now. Ghostface is here. How you doing, Ghostface? Good to see you. Mudcrab, I obviously brought up one of your comments, but I didn't say hello. Hello, how you doing, Mudcrab? Why did that just jump on me like that? It's like I scrolled down and then it jumped up and it was like I was back reading like sort of the same comments that I just went through. Riff is here. How you doing, Riff? Good to see you. We got Jordan Star Wars is here. How you doing? Force choke the like button. Yeah. We got Grant's here. How you doing, Grant? Tilliam's here. How you doing, Tilliam? Ryan Gosling. Who else we got? We got the great Mike Hill. How you doing, Mike? Mr. Bantham's here. Nuisance Bird. Caw. Papa Palpatine's Pizza Padawan. Hello, all. Pro Jack fan. How you doing, Pro Jack fan? Oh, Cobra Kai. Season 6. Yes, I have seen it now. And actually, let me just address that really quickly. It was definitely better than those first 5 episodes of season 6. And I do feel like those first 5 that they did actually come out with and left it the way that they left it and for how long they left it for was a detriment to it. Because I think that they lost a few people. Because a few people were already starting to get sick of it. And then when that happened, it was kind of like, this is a bit cheesy and lackadaisical. But then those middle 5 episodes, I do have a couple of issues with it. But overall, I think that they've done it well. It's going to be interesting to see now that they've brought back, Mr. Big Bad. How they're going to close it out in 5 episodes now. How they're going to close it out. It's going to be interesting. But no, I liked those middle 5. I didn't like the first 5. GT Weber's here. How you doing, GT? Yeah, all right, let me talk about this. So, again, I watched Melvin's stream. He was pretty angry at basically how Skeleton Crew is sort of being received in the fandom and in the overall fandom of the people that did actually realize that Acolyte was shit and that Disney Star Wars was starting to get shit and stuff like that. They're now coming out and saying, well, this show, it's not too bad. It is for kids, but it's not too bad. It doesn't really do anything destructive. And this is the thing that I would just want to say. This is the mindset that these people have gone into this with. This is exactly what it's going to be. If you remember, everybody was talking about it and saying how it's going to be, it's not going to be that, it's not going to destroy any lore, this thing. It's just going to be its own little isolated story. It's going to be for kids. It looks childish, blah, 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 blah. They were all saying that when they first saw a first trailer and all of this. It's been being said from the very beginning. So they went into it with that mindset. And they're coming out with it in that mindset because that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. Now, I'm not defending the show at all. I actually think the show is a terrible show. I don't think it fits in the Star Wars galaxy. It is definitely made for single-digit children, the new generation coming through. And this would be completely fine if it wasn't going to be or being attached to the Star Wars Disney canon, because it's going to end up going into all of these things. Now, yes, we've only seen 2 episodes. We're yet to see more. Right? But I think I was a little bit, if you watch my first episode review, right, I couldn't watch the second episode straight away. I couldn't go straight into it. I was so just bored by it and just this is the thing this is how I know the disappointment that somebody like Melvin's feeling, right? And it's because I felt the same sort of feeling with Theory in regards to the Acolyte comes out, he starts criticizing it, he starts seeing how shit it is. He even starts criticizing Dave Filoni, right? And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is a bit of a shift. Let's sort of see where this goes. What's he talking about here? And then, that whole story, this was while I was in America. And then the whole story about Anakin possibly being gay or even the trans clone. And it's and then his opinions and his thoughts on that. And I see that and I'm like, hang on a second. Like, you're just going to be sort of fine with that, I guess. Like, it's not going to be that bad, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just kind of like brushing it off. And I was just disappointed because I thought as like a overall Star Wars fan base, people were starting to see the issues with it. And that's the problem with this show too, is that there has been that preemptive strike of don't criticize the kids. Don't criticize the kids. And it's just like, it feels like the same thing that they did with the whole racist thing, right? Don't criticize the kids. It's like, oh, be careful. This is a toxic racist fan base. You know, they get warned about this stuff. Just like, who was it? Moses Ingram. And others. Even, what's her name? May and Osha or whatever. Thing is that it's not even about bullying children, Lethal. I will get that super chat in just a sec. It's not even about bullying children. Like, no one's even done that. The actual performances from the kids, I think, have been completely fine. The thing is it is, and even the comedy in it, it lands, but it's for kids. It's not like I'm sitting there laughing at it. I can blatantly see what it is that's happening in front of my face. Now, again, we're yet to see whether or not it does actually destroy any canon or anything like that. Mech, thank you for the £10, I think that might be. Think many have been duped by the Goonies feel of Skeleton Crew. Yes. Like, this is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. People went into it with that mindset. So that's the mindset that they're going into it with. And that's exactly what they're saying. But it is exactly what it is. The thing is why aren't we criticizing it for, like, why do they have to take inspiration and call it like, oh, this is like the Goonies in space? Or this is what, like, it's almost like they're not even taking any inspiration from Star Wars. And that's the thing. This show doesn't feel like Star Wars. And how it is evoking many of those 80s kids, teen film vibes, and motifs for kids. Question, yeah. That pirate boarding attack was pretty brutal. Yeah, but the thing is even with that pirate attack at the beginning, it is like a cut and paste of the beginning of A New Hope. You know, Vader boarding Tentative 4. So, like, there is a bit of cut and paste there. There is a bit of, like, the nostalgia. This is the thing, though, is that I'm sure there are people out there that haven't even noticed that fact, which means that they did it reasonably well. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I even said, even in my episode 1 review and everything, the way that this was shot, I'm actually surprised. It doesn't feel like it's shot in the volume. It actually, like, it seems to be edited pretty well. Like, the fundamentals of actually, you know, making television or making movies, to me, seems to be pretty solid in this. But that's not me praising it. This is the thing with these shows, and this is one thing that I've noticed, is that these people that are now starting to come out and say, like, oh, at least it's not as bad as, like, the Acolyte and stuff like that, and, you know, it's solid, it's decent, blah, 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 blah. Like, these people forget that they've gone through this same thing in the past, and they've been brutally disappointed by the results. Like, you certainly need to wait and see. But this is the other thing too, is it doesn't matter. In all honesty, it's so funny that that happened while I was in America, just with the Star Wars Theory thing. And like I haven't made a video. Like I just like the fandom's just like it is broken. The fandom is broken, like in tatters. It really is. Thank you for the super chat too. But yeah, Melvin, he's right. We had momentum. We had a lot of momentum. And the thing is, you know, so it's gonna, man, it's gonna be interesting how like what happens in like follow up episodes and these people's thoughts on it. Despite the fact that I can say that it was shot well, there was no like music moments, there was no score moments that actually took me out of it. You know, there was maybe one actually, and I actually showed it in my review when Neil like gets scared by the skeletons. And like the music is like, it is definitely for those kids. Like you just watch that scene. Let me see if I can bring it up really quickly and like show you what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's this one here. Oh, let's not do it like that. Let me see if I can find this bit. It shouldn't be hard, I don't think. Yeah. All right. So like they've all blamed it on Wham. I don't know his name. Oh no, we don't want to share it like that. We want to share it like this. Otherwise it won't share. Okay. So he's looking for him. He's looking through this ship that they've just boarded. They don't know anything about it. Like pay attention to the music. You know that high pitch like whistling, like. You see what I'm saying? It's very, very much so for kids. And the thing is like for me, it's unnecessary. Like if you look at original Star Wars, you look at the prequels and everything, that was all for kids. Especially if we're going off how these people that are enjoying this stuff and saying that it's for kids and you better not, you know, go after those children. You better not criticize the actors. They're the ones that have been using the Star Wars is for kids as a defense against criticism. So what, how is this any different? Like, and this is different from normal fucking Star Wars. But you're saying that this is for kids. But isn't the other stuff for kids too? Well, I think it is. I think that a kid could watch episode 4, like Star Wars, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, that has strong characters. Like, this is the thing that sort of gets to me, is how this child defense has always been there. And yet this is apparently for kids, but it's different from normal Star Wars, but it's for kids. It's all for kids. You know, I even said this in my review. You could argue that like Clone Wars and stuff like that is for kids, but there's definitely stuff in there that even I originally got enjoyment out of. And there's still stuff in there that still has decent, you know, there are decent episodes. There are decent moments. It does have its problems, just like every fucking thing else Dave Filoni touches. Man, I've gone off on a tangent. How you doing there, chat? Clone Wars is for kids with brain damage. All of Disney Star Wars is trash. I agree. Let's see. The fence riding is getting insane. I agree, but I also do see if you look at Skeleton Crew in isolation, and let's say we just take the Star Wars label off it for a second. It's fine. It's still, even if you take it out of the Star Wars universe, it's actually still not great. Or not even good. But it's fine. It's fine, again, for kids. And I hate that we got to keep saying that. And it's so funny that these people come out and say, oh, you better not go after the kids. You better not go after the kids. And no one's actually going after the kids. The kids, for me, like I said, did a better performance than all the actors in, even in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Probably did a better performance than Ewan McGregor himself in Obi-Wan. They did a better performance than the kid Leia. Am I going to get jumped on for that because I'm criticizing a kid actor, the one that played Leia? At least she could realize that it was pretty dumb, her hiding under a coat and this coat having 4 legs. Made fun of it. Disney Star Wars is Disney Star Wars. It is bad. It all has its problems. And the problem is that the people that they're trying to target as new audience is now the kids, right? Yeah, okay, let's do a kids show, right? And target those kids, despite the fact that I thought that they were already targeting the kids because everything was made for kids. But anyway, they basically going after these new audiences. Where do you think any of this stuff that they're making is going to end up anyway? So, okay, let's say Skeleton Crew is this ultimate success, right? Because it seems, based on the word of mouth going around right now, that it's getting a pass. Doesn't get a pass as Star Wars for me, certainly not. But it's getting a pass. Does that mean it gets a second season? What happened to all those racist, sexist fans out there? Now, this is the other thing, too, that I want to point out is I have seen a couple of polls out there that have actually, asked the question, what have you thought about Skeleton Crew? And one of the final, answers is not bothering watching it or not watching it or whatever, giving them the option of not watching it. There was one poll out there where it had a couple of thousand and it was 70% aren't watching it. So anyone that cared to vote on that poll, 70% of those people aren't even watching it. This is one of those ones where the only people really that are watching it, and it doesn't surprise me that it's got an 80, last time I think I saw 88% score on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience, is because the only real people that are watching it are your Jacobs, and your Sawyerisms, and your Star Wars Explains. And the only other people that are watching it on top of that are the YouTubers, the reviewers. And the thing is that when you get those people out there that do happen to review shows and movies, and they're not, let's say, invested directly in just the Star Wars franchise, like, let's say, somebody like myself is, then they're going to review it based on its writing, its production, its, that's where I think some of that lies in some of the Andor criticism compared to my criticism. Because my criticism does go into a lot of the jangling keys and the laws and this and the that. Whereas their appreciation of that show comes in the writing and the performances and things like that. Which, I got to say, I've already argued this, is probably the better stuff out of everything that they've done when it comes to those elements. And that's where I do agree with them. I still don't think it's good. And it's sort of the same thing with Skeleton Crew here. Mac, for another 5. Thank you. Excuse me. Hold on. While I cough up a lung. They are ripping off another Disney film with the at Aden. That's the home thing about it being a fabled lost world of treasure to pirates. Sorry, man. The film Treasure Planet. It's funny that you say that. Is that the actual name that they use? Because when I first heard it, I'm like, man, I've heard that before. It feels familiar. Is that the actual name? That whole storyline thing. Oh man. It makes me actually, let me check something really quickly here. Star Wars. This is something that they've made up, isn't it? Something that Disney's made up. God damn. There's a couple of things in the show like that are actually quite on the nose. I spoke about it in, like, you know, when they are infiltrating the ship at the very beginning, the guy going to defend the ship like cocks his gun like it's going to fire a projectile. I thought that was kind of silly. There was something else too that was like that made me think, like, that's not Star Wars. Lethal Lightning for 2 says, Oi Rhino, what's your thoughts on TCW? Ahsoka, go brah. TCW is not, I don't think it's good. I used to think it was good. But I don't think it's good anymore. There's still some things in there that are fine, but there's a lot of, I said it before, there's a lot of problems. I don't know if you heard me talking about it before, but I already said that. You need to get on Mauler and Critical Drinker, or Critical Drinker show, and discuss these things. But they don't want you there. They I don't know. They need to ride the fence. I don't think so. I honestly, man, I reckon I'd love to have a discussion with those guys about some of these things. I don't know. I think there are different sort of levels of fandom, and people like myself and Melvin and, you know, Justin, Star Wars Marvel purist, Tim, United Spaces Alliance, Alora, you know, when we watch these kinds of things, and some of those even more so than even me, but when they watch these things, they notice so many problems, because they know so much about Star Wars. It's like, I'm sure that there's somebody out there, like, I know that Star Wars Explained did it, I think, where he translated every page that kid was flicking through on his tablet. And, like, I'm sure that there's Easter eggs in there, and I'm sure that there's people out there that have noticed what those things are, even without actually having to translate and stuff like that. So, like, there would be, like I'm saying, there are different sort of levels of people's understanding and fandom into Star Wars. Like, there was that moment where, like, they end up splitting up. They're on the pirate planet, right? And the main chick, who's so insufferable, by the way, the main chick, she's standing there. She catches up with the other three, and then she's standing there and she's sort of looking around, and the other three sort of almost sneak away from her. And she sort of like, she then looks around and she's lost again. And she then sort of goes off to try and find them. And then all of a sudden it cuts to the other chick, the one that's got the, you know, Cyclops, we'll call her Cyclops. She's walking by herself, but she crept away with the other two guys. But it just cuts to now them being separated, completely separated. But there's no explanation in there. And this is the thing that I was saying. Even if they was to put this small, tiny little scene in there where, like, they walked away, the other girl stayed still, so they did end up getting lost. It cuts to those three together, and they're like, oh, where'd she go now? And then they can go, oh, well, let's just split up and see if we can try and find her, and we'll meet back here. And we'll just go down these two avenues and come back down here, and or whatever. Right? But a scene there to just move the characters correctly on the board, if that makes sense. Like, it seems that they just don't care. That's probably the one big editing thing that I did actually notice, to be honest with you. Ryan Kennel should have been there today on Critical Drinker Show. Well, Ryan's not watching it. I asked him, I sent him a super chat on his stream, and I asked him if he's watching it, and he's like, no, he's not watching it. It's like, I kind of want him to watch it now. I really do. I kind of want him to actually see what I'd love to see what he has to say about it. I bet you he'll say the same thing. It's fine. It's for kids. It doesn't belong. And it hasn't yet done anything to destroy any lore. The performances are actually better than some of the actual adult performances that we've seen in the live action stuff. But it is so childish that it's just not for me. I reckon that's the explanation that most people would give. The problem is that this isn't really appealing to this isn't appealing to Star Wars fans, even children. That's the thing. Now we're going to see the effects and some of the battles, especially that opening battle and stuff, were decent. Again, they looked good. You know, kids are going to be attracted to that. But, you know, this is the thing. They've destroyed the brand so much that they actually need to rebuild a new fan base. They actually need to rebuild a new fan base. Problem is, when that fan base gets older and starts to realize how a lot of this shit, it just doesn't make sense, and then you actually tie it in with George Lucas's Star Wars, because they still have to use the prequels and the original trilogies. Man, it all comes crumbling down in the end. Oh, no way. No way. Now, this is the thing too, is that's not to say that you can't have isolated stories in the Star Wars universe. But I think you need to make them a little bit more compelling than kids getting lost in space and trying to find their way home to a planet that is apparently a pirate treasure trove. It's a myth. And you just happen to run into pirates, and it's so, you know, where is all the rum? Rare horror. You know, it's all so piratey. Parody? Parody? You know, if I was going to do an isolated story in the Star Wars universe, I would want to tell a story, and I don't exactly. I haven't thought. I've never really thought about this. It's literally just coming to my head now. So excuse me if I don't have like all the details down pat. But what I would actually sort of want to see would be like sometime in the far future, a story revolving around a dark Jedi, let's say, that loves to gamble, loves to use his abilities, but he's constantly on the run from like the underground. You could almost even do it like one of the characters from the Plagueis book, that shapeshifts to you go to different casinos and that kind of thing, but has like there's a compelling backstory to it. It doesn't even need to be involved in the overall larger story. Just a scoundrel character that has some power, has some ability in some way, in the Star Wars universe, uses it sneakily under the radar to get their way, very selfish. That could be a cool story. Again, and that could, especially little boys love seeing something like that, a Force user cheating the system. They all love that shit. It's not good to teach them that stuff, but they love it. We all do. What do you reckon some of the best parts of like Casino Royale and stuff like that are? Those moments, those tense moments, watching those cards turn and shit. Like, make something like that, but in the Star Wars universe with a dark side Force user it's selfish. It's not Sith. It's just a dark Jedi, completely selfish, completely self-indulging and self-involved. And that's it. Now, could you tell a story like a drama story in the Star Wars galaxy? Of course you could. Of course you could. You could do a comedy in the Star Wars, but is it appropriate? Probably not. Is it inappropriate to make a show for kids? No, not necessarily. But I see why they're doing it. Melvin, we did have a lot of momentum. There was a lot of momentum there. And I don't be too disheartened by it. I don't necessarily think that is lost. I'm not saying that this is, but they can always produce a slight diamond in the rough. It does nothing. It comes and goes. This is going to be like I can't even remember it now. Resistance? This is going to be like the Resistance of live action Star Wars TV. And the only people that are giving it like any sort of votes or anything, I think, on the Rotten Tomatoes kind of scores and stuff like that, at the very, like, how many is it? How many is it that makes that number? Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Man, we haven't gone into absolutely anything. I hope I'm doing all right here, guys. Are we doing okay? I'm only asking considering I'm not feeling so good. Mr. Panther for $2 says, why is a concept like pirate a thing in Star Wars? Well, yeah. But this is the thing too, is that this is where the people that are making these shows don't actually understand the Star Wars galaxy. Because you can do pirate-like characters, but you don't have to make it so, tie up your boots or her, kind of thing. It doesn't need to be so on the nose. You can take inspiration from something. Absolutely. Absolutely you can. I mean, lightsaber fights were from like, katanas and samurai fights and things like that. But when you watch a lightsaber fight and you watch a bunch of samurais fight with katanas, they're very different. They don't look exactly the same. It's not like when you watch a lightsaber fight, it's like, oh, I'm watching two samurais. There are some moments like that, but overall, SWA, dude, thank you so much. 5 gifted memberships to the Rhino Rebellion. Yeah. Thank you. Captain Keeley, how you doing? Pirates have always been a thing. They just aren't like Disney pirates. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. You could almost say that Han Solo was basically a pirate. He's more a bounty hunter and stuff, but you know what I mean? That's what a pirate is in the Star Wars galaxy, basically. It's not so piratey. Arr. And that's, again, another thing that makes it so for kids. Oh, there was that other bit that I even brought up where they're trying to get back home. They're asking the droid if they know where At-Aden is, that place that was mentioned before. And the droid's like, no. And he even brings up Aldani, which is from the Andor series, a planet, Aldani. That's where they do the heist, I think. Anyway, and I bet you the shills loved it. He said the thing! Oh, man, I can already see it. Anyway, so they're trying to get back home, and the pirate droid thing has no idea what At-Aden is. So the girl, the Cyclops, she says to him, search your memory banks for your last location, because the ship, where they found the ship, was obviously on their home planet. So it's not a bad idea. But the droid then turns and starts going, searching, 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 and then obviously it sort of fades into the background. It's still going, but it fades into the background and the kids start talking and stuff, right? But the fact that they even have to do that, that's not Star Wars. That's kids. That's doing Star Wars for kids. But if you're going to have something in live action that's like within the canon and stuff, I'm sorry, but you can call that a nitpick or whatever all you like. You need to clean that shit up. Stop making it so comedic. I mean, these kids are in a pretty serious situation right now. But who fucking cares? What was I doing? I was checking Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes. Tomatoes? Let's call the whole thing off. No, we don't give a fuck about that. And we want Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew. 83%. Let me bring this up. I know why I decided to go British. All right, here we go. 83%. How do we see... How do we see the number of people that... Let's go. Whoa. Which one's the one that's supposed to be like the more accurate one? Top critic or all critics? All critics 95, top critics 87, all audiences 83. I don't know why clicking on that does absolutely nothing. I'd like to know how many people make up that number. Disgusting. It's like fucking 10 people have like, and it's got an 83%. How do I get that number? Surely there's a way that I can get that number. Fucking gay. That's shit. Oh. Anyway, 83%. It's too high. It's not that good. It's not that good. Like I said, I think that outside of the Star Wars universe, it's fine. In the Star Wars universe, it's not. It just doesn't feel appropriate. It doesn't just like that. Everybody talks about that feel of Star Wars. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. It just doesn't. And again, we'll have to wait and see these next. Well, we're already 25% of the way through it with 2 episodes down. So, you know, things will happen quickly. Don't worry. Things will happen really quickly. But man, I went on about that for a while, didn't I? Let's see. We're all good there. All right. So there's a couple of just news things that I want to talk about. I do want to get back into Skeleton Crew a little bit. And then, oh man, there's actually a fair bit of news. Okay, this was something that I think we should have talked about it last week. I think. When did this get posted, actually? The 5th. Oh, was that yesterday? No. I heard people talking about it like 2 days ago. I'm sure of it. Anyway, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't out last week. But basically this here. IGN now coming out and saying, Disney, stop announcing Star Wars movies and make one. Like, this is the thing, though, IGN, is that you've been basically licking the ass of Disney with their shows. I mean, what did you give Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like, man, what did you give Book of Boba Fett? What did you give Ahsoka? What did you give the Acolyte? What are you giving the Skeleton Crew right now? Like, do you really care if they make a Star Wars movie with how much you're enjoying? Like, I know IGN isn't a person, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, where have you been? Where have you been for so long? Like, it's not to say that I've necessarily been asking for a Star Wars movie, but you know, Star Wars, if you remember, is like a a movie franchise more so than a show or a television show franchise. A lot of people have been saying that for a long time. But then on top of that, you've been praising the shit out of everything that they've been coming out with, which has been garbage. And now you've got the audacity to come out and say, Disney, stop announcing Star Wars movies and make one already? Like, come on. Like, seriously? That's where you're at? Now, you're not wrong in saying that, because all Disney Lucasfilm seem to be able to do is announce shit and cancel shit and announce shit and then announce something, but then like change the writer, you know, get rid of a writer, or a writer leaves, or a, you know, director gets fired and you get in a new director for that same project, but then that project, put it on the shelf, stop talking about it. Like, no one's buying into your bullshit anymore, Lucasfilm. And the funny thing is that the attack on fans that you seem to want to load up on and appreciate and everything, because even your Twitter account, the Star Wars Twitter account, the only people that you interact with, or the only people that you happen to send gift baskets to, are the ones that are, you know, your shills, obviously, and your seals, obviously, but they're the same people that were on the cancel train for these YouTubers. These are the same people that, you know, call the fandom racist. This fandom that apparently they've been a fan base, a part of for their entire lives as women, as whatever. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. All of it. Since day one. Since the day that Ryan Johnson came out and fucking attacked the fans for the very first time and blew everyone away with his absolute bullshit and gave everybody else a green light to then be able to do that shit. What a nightmare you've made your own industry. Where all it seems that Lucasfilm can do is spend ridiculous amounts of money on absolute garbage television shows filmed in a tin can and looks like it's filmed in a tin can. And once in a blue moon, you might get a competent writer out there and a couple of competent actors, even if they are kids, to actually do a good job. At least they don't make it seem like they're just reciting lines and screaming. Moses Ingram and fucking whatever the fuck your name is. Fucking, oh, what? This is the thing. Fucking Amanda Stenberg. So anyway, yeah, so it's about time that you actually did that. But your wish is their command. Dave Filoni confirms the Mandalorian and Grogu has wrapped filming. Why is, and in theaters May 2026, May 22, 2026. Why is it basically a year and a half away? I understand that they need to do post-production stuff, editing, you know, basically putting this thing together. I get that. But does that really take that long? I mean, especially in this day and age, should it really be taking that long? And that's supposed to be the next movie that we're getting. That's a whole nother year of no movies. More crappy TV shows. But what a title too. The Mandalorian and Grogu. How, like, creatively bankrupt is Lucasfilm right now? Is Disney right now? God damn. They can't even come up with a good title for a show or a movie or anything. Oh, here we go. Let's see what Dave Filoni has to say here. Dave Filoni confirms the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has wrapped filming at the Skeleton Crew premiere. Well, let's listen to what Dave, the dog Filoni, has to say. I'd just like to point out that I like it. I like it when I take it in the ass. That's from Jon Favreau. He comes into my office. Yes.
Mandalorian and Grogu finished filming.
Yeah.
What can you tease? Tell us anything about that?
Nothing, of course. But, you know, I'm very excited.
Sorry, have you guys got audio? I hope so.
About it as well. You know.
Let's go back.
Mandalorian and Grogu finished filming.
Yeah.
What can you tease? Tell us anything about that?
Nothing, of course. But, you know, I'm very excited about it as well. You know, John and I had a great time working on that, as we always do. It was great seeing Grogu You know, he's become such a star.
Seeing
And
Grogu,
it's amazing how it's evolved, what we can do now with the puppetry
you know, he's a puppet, right?
compared to season one and where we are today in a film. Working with the team, which I worked quite a bit with them on the puppetry, legacy effects. It's just a fantastic job, and what a wonderful little creation Grogu is.
Yeah, you can't deny that Grogu saved Star Wars at least a little bit. You know, what I mean by that is like after the sequel trilogy, you know, you got to remember Mandalorian season 1 crossed over with the Rise of Skywalker, and you know, the momentum after Last Jedi was really low. Obviously, Solo lost money. And then they dropped Mandalorian, and people were like, "Oh, John," and they brought in John Favreau, and you know, obviously there was a lot of people listening to Doomcock, you know, and how like Dave and John are going to come in and save Star Wars and blah blah blah, and then that turned into the Civil War and so on and so forth. But you know, John and Dave came in, they made it, they dropped the first half of the season, you know, before the Rise of Skywalker. And it's funny that the episode that Grogu force heals Grief Karga is like the same week that they drop that movie and Rey does the force heal stuff. You know, it's funny how they dropped Grogu doing it first. So everybody's like, oh, cute. And look how awesome he is. He can force heal. Whoa, look at that. Blah, blah, blah. And then when Rey does it, it's like, then they had a way to, if people were like, ended up having a problem with that, you know, they'd be like, oh, how dare you be like so positive when it happens with a Grogu character. And they basically got you then. You know, to me, that's what that felt like. It felt like a gotcha. They actually intentionally dropped those two things happening on the same week, and it gave no one anywhere to go. Because as soon as they have a problem with Rey doing it, they're a hypocrite. They're a hypocrite. Now, excuse me, but I don't remember who this person is. But there's been rumors of some high-end actors being a part of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We've talked about one. I can't remember. Can you guys remember, chat, who it was that we talked about? Oh, what's her name? Why am I getting the initials SW? Sigourney Weaver. That's why I'm getting the SW. How's that? Sigourney Weaver. That's right. Sigourney Weaver's attached to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but so is Mary Zephyrs from obviously being a part of La La Land, Cowboys and Aliens. I've watched Cowboys and Aliens. I've actually got Cowboys and Aliens. I don't mind that movie, but I can't remember her in that. Interstellar. I also can't remember her in Interstellar. Why can't I remember her in Interstellar? Is she the main chick in Interstellar? And Iron Man 2, which I also can't remember her in. But she's attached to it as the costume designer. Oh, that's why I haven't seen her in it, because she's the costume designer. How retarded am I? How retarded am I? Man, the other problem too right now is that it's fucking hot. So it's like I'm really fucking hot and I'm not doing so good. All right. What else have we got here? Let's move on, shall we? Dave Filoni provides an update on Ahsoka season 2. I'm so well into Ahsoka season 2 as well. Why do they write it like that? Wouldn't you say I'm so well into it as well if they actually ask the question? Anyway, I've been writing it. I'm still the single writer on it. That's interesting. Was he the single writer on season 1? So I'm enjoying doing that, but it's a challenge, of course. Working some of those arcs through has been a challenging and making sure making sure that it's all going to come out in a way that is exciting for fans. Well, you did a bad job on season 1. I know that they're interested in where some of the things I developed in season 1 go. I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see. It's my next thing to work on. It's coming up. Okay, Dave. You've got your fingers in everything. You've got you got a finger in every pie right now, don't you? You know. I wonder if he's in the credits of Skeleton Crew. Surely. Based on his promotion that he only got, This is the thing. Like, Star Wars and what we want Star Wars to be, it's never going to get to that. It's definitely never going to get to that. The only thing that we can keep doing is making sure that the EU stays alive. And I can't remember. I think it might have been Tim. Could have been somebody else. It might have even been Justin. But like, I've even started going into calling it Legends, and I'm like, no, I got to stop doing that. It's the EU. It's the EU. It's the EU. Stop calling it Legends. Stop giving Disney the win, the credit, the credibility of changing it. It's the EU. It's the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Real Star Wars Expanded Universe. There's some stuff in there that's not great. There's some stuff in there that's brilliant. There's some stuff in there that ties stuff together really well. It's fantastic, and it tells true, real Star Wars stories. If we were putting like something like Skeleton Crew in you do Skeleton Crew as like a little comic book run or something like that in the Star Wars galaxy, as opposed to like, the movies being like your big novels and your big major stories. But Dave, just, keep doing it, man. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a fantastic job of contributing to the destruction of real Star Wars and making this whole new thing, this whole new canon that already doesn't make sense. You've already done damage to your own source material. I know what I would rather read as a continuation of the actual, 6 movies, the actual story, before and after. Oi, are you okay? I'm okay, Moz. How you doing? Are you still streaming? You still playing? What else have we got here? Oh, okay. So we got some more Skeleton Crew stuff. So I kind of saw this. When did this come out as well? This was on the 30th. What day was the 30th? That was last Saturday. So again, we just missed it last week. But this was like a promotional thing that they came out with for Skeleton Crew. And like, I wouldn't normally, after something's been released, I wouldn't actually normally go back and watch something, some promotional material from it. But the thing that I want to basically point out for this is like, just think about how much everybody's been talking about it being for kids, and what do you think about this as like a promotional piece or a trailer for the show? Let me get my headphones here.
Bored of your ordinary life?
Yes, sir.
Want to do something exciting?
Like what?
Join Wim, Fern, KB, Neil, and Jod.
It's me.
They call themselves Skeleton Crew. They've stumbled on something legendary, but they're not alone.
Follow me and watch where you step.
Join the adventure in Skeleton Crew. Premieres Monday, December 2nd at 6 p.m.
You know, it makes me think of the Jetsons / with like something like The Last Starfighter kind of thing, like as a promotional thing. It's like an 80s, 100%. And they're trying to feed on that nostalgia. The nostalgia, basically, that that Star Wars Theory is falling for. You could say. So this is the Acolyte news that I was not really talking about, that I had in the title. And I do agree with Gary Nerdrotic in the sense that this is so conveniently timed. You know, the fans thought that the narrative would be, you know, bullying the kids. So the fans were the ones that came out and said, you know, don't go out. You better not go after those kids. If I see anyone going after those kids, don't go after those kids, right? But that's not the narrative that Disney was thinking or thought that the fan base would go. And it's kind of funny just to think that, yes, as disappointing as it is, that this show isn't necessarily being criticized. It's not. Again, it's such a tough thing. Because it's not bad. It's just not Star Wars. Oh, fucking annoying. Fucking have to say that shit. Anyway, but again, this is just conveniently timed. So the Acolyte star Lee Jung-ju on the harassment he and others who worked on the show faced. You know what the funny thing about this statement is? Like, do we really not like? They're quoting this as this is him saying this. I'd like to see the video, please. And I would like to get another translation. But anyway, my feelings were hurt. Especially for Leslie Headland. See, okay. I just don't buy it, because where are the receipts for the criticism that these people got? Is the criticism literally just the fact that, you know, people like me and all these other channels out there were like, this is just shit. Look at this crap, right? The acting is bad. The visuals are bad. The story is bad. The lore is bad. The canon is bad. Everything, the continuity is bad. The timing is bad. Everything in universe is just bad. It was just bad. Was that the harassment that Leslie Headland's talking about? It's kind of the same thing about, you know, harassing the kids. Does that mean that this show is exempt from criticism because it's got kids in it? You know, if a kid gives a bad performance or doesn't necessarily do a good job, you know, I'm not going to go after the kid, but I'm going to be like, oh, you know, that wasn't actually so good. But there's been nothing wrong with their performances necessarily at this point in time. Her feelings must have hurt a lot. I can only have faith that racism will end someday. Even though it's going to be hard. How's my accent? It's probably shit. Anyway, bullshit. And again, the timing of this is so convenient. So convenient. We're about to get a new Star Wars show, and they're back out there talking about racist fans. You know the funny thing? Leslie Headland, is that Skeleton Crew, despite how bad it actually is and how non-Star Wars it is, you need to watch Jurassic Park. It's actually still better than your show. It's better constructed. It's better shot. It's better edited. It's better with most things. It's better performed. Even the kid actors in this did a better job than the actors that you directed in your show. None of that criticism has anything to do with racism at all. That's the same thing. My feelings were hurt. This is the thing, though, too, is that this now, like, it's becoming less and less of an importance. It's becoming less and less of a thing now. Oh, I know. Constantly trying to keep the Acolyte relative. Relevant, sorry, relevant. 100%. Yeah, Greg. It's been a long time, dude. Let's see, where am I here? And then there was also this, which I also thought was like conveniently timed. This isn't stuff that we haven't heard before, obviously, but they're bringing it up again. And it's funny that it does come from Star Wars Holocron too. Manny Jacinto says there was plans for more Darth Plagueis in the Acolyte Season 2. Well, first of all, no shit. Like, really, at the end of the day, no fucking shit. Isn't that why we thought that they did this scene? And that's all we got from that character? But first of all, what you're trying to run on the racist narrative, right? But also too, like, trying to pull on the jangling key narrative as well with, we were going to get more Plagueis if we had have been able to continue the story. Hopefully someday we still get to, but if we were going to we would have had more Plagueis. No, nobody wants more of this Plagueis. Funny thing is that we still haven't even ever seen Plagueis in live action. You might argue the fact that this is, but Disney Star Wars isn't Star Wars. A little unfortunate there. There was definitely going to be more of Plagueis in the second, or if not, the third season of the show. But I just can't say because we could come back. I don't want to spoil anything or give anything away, or give anybody any false hope. But I would just say there was a lot more to explore. Sorry, for sure. A lot more to explore when it comes to Darth Plagueis. # Mother Plagueis. # Fake Plagueis. Discrepit has become a member. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. At the tracking fob level, I appreciate that. I got to change the names. I keep saying that, but I actually got to do it. I got to go in and change the names of the the membership levels. I don't like tracking fobs and hyperspace skippers anymore. Pretty lame now that I think about it. Let's see, where are we? Get rid of some of these tabs, that'll help. Oh, my nose. So and the next one was basically just the same thing again. Member? Seals? Not yet. It's basically the same thing. I don't know why I had that there twice. Star Wars Holocron, I guess, and the direct reporting on that. It's funny though, haven't we already had basically this statement from him before? And again, don't we already know all of this? Like, yes, of course they were going to have more Plagueis, but I'm pretty sure they've said it as well. Decrepit. Did I say it right that time? I apologize. Thank you. I should have thought of that. Oh, Laura. How you doing, OG? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Let's get rid of that. What do we got here? Save the Acolyte campaign. They really want this. And you know what? Don't we all? In some way, shape, or form, I think secretly, deep down, we all want an Acolyte season 2. The thing is, though, is like the after the Acolyte season 1, going into like obviously Skeleton Crew and moving forward with some of the things and some of the news that's happened since then, like with Anakin and with like the trans clone trooper and stuff like that. Like, even if we get a second season of the Acolyte and the people that come out and say that they don't like it and everything, man, that whole of people that I can trust in regards to like what they're talking about, let's say mainly when it comes to Star Wars, is getting smaller. Getting smaller. Oh no, it's all good, dude. It's all good. Blake, you can trust me. Yesterday, it was revealed that the Acolyte was planned for 3 seasons and a movie. 3 seasons and a movie were planned. How could Disney let this pass? I think the numbers say it all. We still have a chance to renew it. Tell us what you'd love to see in season 2 and use hashtags. And then they even made a poster thing here. Renew/save the Acolyte. SaveTheAcolyte.com. Hashtags renew the Acolyte. Give us the Acolyte. Acolyte movie. Did you know the Acolyte was supposed? Yeah, who cares? Okay. Keep trying and keep wasting your money on billboards in Times Square or wherever that billboard was. Do it. Do it. Make it. Make a season 2. Like, honestly, just do it now. Make a season 2. Make a season 2. Give Rian Johnson his trilogy. Taika Waititi, give him his movie. At this rate, you may as well like get like people like Benioff and Weiss and everybody that you fired and just say to every single one of them, do your own thing. Doesn't need to make any sense with anything else being released. You can use any time period and just play luck of the draw and release it all. Just release it all. Oh. Echo Base Network stormed into Darth Paus's stream. It was funny. Really? Why has Darth Pause been going up to Echo Base Network? Crazy shit. Decrepit again for $5. For some, I don't know what that is, but allergy meds. Whatever you blocks. Oh man, whatever you blokes, sorry, in the down under use to soothe yourself with ill, man, or whiskey, even better. Whatever, haha. Man, I've just been taking like heaps of paracetamol and ibuprofen. I call it that because people call it different stuff in different countries, and that's pretty simple. We have Panadol and Nurofen. Panadol is your ibuprofen, and your Decrepit. That's what I said the first time, wasn't it? I'm sorry, I keep fucking it up. Echo Base Network at Disney Shields. Oh, yeah. They were a part of that video that I did, the one with there are way more of us. Again, that was a troll video, but still, blocks. I know. Hold on, excuse me. Man. All right, where am I at here? We got to try and wrap this up. I'm fucking sweating. I'm retarded. You got to remember that. You got to remember that. They do like George Lucas Star Wars, so I give them that. They do. The thing is that you've got to be honest with what's actually happening. Yes, you can look at Skeleton Crew in isolation and again say that it's fine, right? It's not doing anything outrageous at this point in time. Again, we've still got a long way to go with this show, but at this point, it's in isolation. It's fine. But the thing is that when you look at Star Wars as a whole, like, what is this really? What is this? Who is this for? And that's why I come to the conclusion that like it is them trying to culminate a new audience, but they're trying to culminate the new audience now in the younger, well, at least with the younger generation. Whereas apparently it was always for kids, which essentially in a way it was, and they could have just continued effectively telling the stories that they, should be telling. Take a couple of shots of tequila. I don't know about that. Don't know about that. And here we go. My phone's ringing now. I don't know who that is. A wild turkey. Wild turkey's my drink. All right. I think the next thing coming after Skeleton Crew is this, isn't it? Andor Season 2. Andor Season 2 will premiere in 944 days after the first season ended. Okay. Instead of actually being so cryptic with that, why don't you just say, like, it's being released on this date? It probably has, obviously. Making the... marking the longest ever gap between seasons for a scripted Disney Plus series. That's newsworthy. That's newsworthy. When are we getting Andor Season 2? That's more interesting. I'm sorry if I keep sniffing into the microphone. In the US, it's April 22nd. In Australia and the UK, it's April 23rd, 2025. Yep. So that is going to obviously be the next thing. It's not actually that far away. It's like 4 months. So that falls on the Wednesday for me. Tuesday. I'm trying to remember the time slot. It's different to the time slot that we've got for Skeleton Crew. Again, it's kind of interesting that Skeleton Crew gets this time slot, and it is kind of interesting that Skeleton Crew is getting the talked about the way it's getting talked about. Blue Eyed Scorpio, Aussie. Andor Season 2. That's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be another interesting one to see what happens. It's so funny for me now. It's kind of like I'm just sort of sitting back and watching. I'm sitting back and I'm observing what's happening. And when I say that, I'm like sort of talking about isolated in the Star Wars stuff. Howdy, it's going to be a bloodbath tomorrow night. I bet. Everyone's going to get spaced. How you doing, Tim? Good to see you, buddy. All right, we've pretty much gone through all the topics. This is the thing, like, even with the Skeleton Crew breakdown, there's not like we sort of went through it all at the beginning of the stream, really. And it's kind of like more to do with like what's actually happening with the conversation around Skeleton Crew and around Star Wars and Skeleton Crew. What happens in the show, I showed you a little bit there. It is so very for kids. Like, I'd say between the ages of like, I don't know, 5 and 9 sort of thing. Let's just wait and see what the Jude Law character is. I want them, honestly, honest to God, I actually want them to make the Jude Law character a Grey Jedi. I want them to specifically come out and say that. You know why I want them to come out and say that? Because I want to see who rejects it. I want to see who rejects it. Because that is fundamental. Something like the Grey Jedi fundamentally breaks the concept of the Force and Jedi and Sith and dark side and light side and balance. It destroys all of that. So I kind of want them to do it because, like I said, I want to see the reaction. Everyone was talking about how this show, it's not going to be any offensive to lore or canon. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to be this childish show, and it's not going to do anything until it actually does something. Just because something can be competently written and competently performed and competently shot and competently basically put together, edited together and everything, does still not make it good. How low is our bar now? I heard people out there saying, "Oh, at least it's not as low. At least it's not as bad as the Acolyte." And I put out a tweet. I read a couple of those, and it just made me think of this. I'll just show you my tweet really quickly. Where is it? And I know my thumbnails for my videos have been shit. I need to fix that. So I put this tweet out there after I'd read a couple of people saying, "Oh, at least the Skeleton Crew isn't as bad as the Acolyte." So Mando season 1 and 2, it's not as bad as the sequels. Andor, it's not as bad as Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi. Ahsoka, it's not as bad as Mando season 3. Skeleton Crew, it's not as bad as the Acolyte. That's just how low the bar is now. And the funny thing is that the sequels, Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are shit, in my opinion, especially more so 2 over 1, but even 1 is shit. Andor, my opinions on Andor. I would argue the fact that, yes, it's probably one of the best ones out of all of them, but it's not good. Ahsoka, not good. Skeleton Crew, not good. So even though they're not as bad as these things here, right, they're still not good in their own right. Oh, this is what I was going to look at this. When we started, I was actually going to bring this up. So I just went to my subscriber bit here, and like heaps of people were streaming today. I don't know if all of these people still are, but Star Wars Theory was streaming with Stupendous Wave. So was Echo Base Network. Are they still going? No, they're finished. Oh, no. Star Wars Theory still going. Because when I saw it, he only had 1,100 people watching. And to me, he's all finished. Let's do a random click show.
Keep in now. You got this.
That when you say you don't like Star Wars anymore, the new stuff, whatever, when I tried to step away from it, it's not just stepping away. There's a part of you, like you almost feel like you're like you're splitting in two. I think the people on the other side, if they're not being disingenuous, can't admit that whatever they're defending, it's too confrontational to say, "Oh, the Acolyte is the wackolite." So then they get super mad at Theory and externalize it versus going like, because if I love the Acolyte and Theory's made 100 videos about it, would I care? No. So why are they? There's also.
I would have been interested to see. I should have gone there when we first started because, like I said, it said he had 1,100 concurrent, which is pretty low for a Theory stream. And I'm not saying that he's not allowed to have his platform or whatever. I just to me, there's just so many indicators of him being disingenuous, him flip-flopping, him fence riding, more so than Critical Drinker or any of those. I must admit, I haven't watched. I need to watch the stream that you're talking about. But I've disagreed with Critical Drinker and Mauler and stuff like that on Andor forever. And it pisses me off when these guys have conversations because I love watching them and I love watching their streams and everything. But I hate it when they have these conversations about Star Wars and they talk about how shit Star Wars has been now. Oh, except for Andor. And they always make an exemption for Andor. They always throw it in there, right? Every single person, every single time. All I ever hear is, even to the people that haven't watched it and they talking about Star Wars and how shit it is. And they go, oh, other than what I've heard about Andor. Like Andor gets a pass. And I completely disagree with Critical Drinker and Mauler on that. And again, I'd love to have a conversation with them to tell them that it's not just the fact that I need to see lightsabers on the screen or, you know, I need to see the Force being used or anything like that. I've gone over it a million times with you guys in regards to what my things are, but I would just want them to hear it and then to ask them, like, you know, we talk about these issues on these other shows like Kenobi or whatever, and they're in this show, and just because it might have a little bit of more competent writing and maybe a little bit better possibly in the plot, I guess, it's still basically the same as those other shows in these elements. Why aren't we criticizing that? Why does it still get this pass when those things are quite glaring? You know, now I might disagree with them in regards to what they say about Skeleton Crew. I have no idea. But I honestly think that they're sort of in a similar boat that I'm in the fact that I see this show and it's like, okay, again, everybody's got these ideas in their head about the kids and this and that. And, you know, you can't criticize. They did a good job. They did a good job. They did a good performance. It's well shot. It's well edited. It looks good. It's the writing is literally for kids. It's like a live action cartoon. And not like a live action anime or, you know, more adult themed cartoons. I'm talking like a cartoon for kids, cartoon, live action. And in that sense, it's fine. Does it belong? Fuck no. Fuck no. And we're still yet to see what they end up actually doing when it comes to destroying any forms of the lore or the canon. Any of that stuff. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I just need to listen to this message. All right, it's fine. All right, let's we've got too many. That's the thing here. Let's get rid of fucking Star Wars Theory. Grizzy, if you're out there, I appreciate the shout out on your Sawyer video. I watched it. All right, let's see here. Who are we going to do? We're definitely leaving that one in there. We're going to leave that one in there. Oh, we're definitely putting that one in there. And we're definitely leaving that one in there. So we're getting rid of these two. Star Wars Holocron I'm fine with getting rid of because it's like a bit like a... I know it's not, but it's like kind of like having IGN nominated. although they do get a nomination every now and then. And the other one was Star Wars Theory, just talking about Skeleton Crew. And then Chris Gore came in. I'll show you this really quickly. So Star Wars Theory goes on about Skeleton Crew here. So far, it's Jumanji, Goonies, Zathra, I don't know, and Harry Potter in Star Wars universe. Right. And it reminded him of being a kid. I hate that. I hate that. But Chris Gore comes in and goes, I agree. Skeleton Crew is a fun and solid Star Wars show. I disagree with that bit. The Star Wars show, it's a fun and solid show. I'll say that, but it doesn't belong in Star Wars for kids. In episode 3, you'll meet the parents and learn one character has 2 moms. They just can't help themselves. Modern messaging must be inserted no matter what. I'd have preferred they kept the parents out of it altogether. Well, that's true too. I'd probably prefer them to remove the parents altogether too, to be fair. If it's completely unnecessary, which it probably will be completely unnecessary, and then that just puts emphasis more so on the fact that it's 2 mums, because that's the entire reason why we had the scene. The entire reason we had the scene. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Seal of the week. I want to see your seal emojis, members. Let's go.
I'm all the Jedi.
All right. I tried. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
R4. Prepare to jettison the spare part canisters.
Red 2, standing by.
Red 11, standing by.
Red 5, standing by.
Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! From my point of view, the Jedi are evil! Well, then you are lost!
Look at his eyes. All right. Where were we? We were right here. All right, so Darth Thunder gets another nomination this week. I've still got to go through and collab the numbers. Is that right? No. Whatever. You know what I mean. So Darth Thunder gets another nomination. Nominee number 1 this week. The Acolyte was magnificent. It was magnificent. So good. We need a season 2. It was that good. The lightsaber was throbbing at his throat. Yes, do your Christmas shopping now. You can get your merch. The narrative's fucked or you want to fight. Get it today. And yes, you can catch me over on Twitch. Sometimes I'll be streaming video games over on Twitch, but you can catch me over there as well. So that's nominee number 1. Nominee number 2 comes from Jacob. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Comes from Jacob and says, waking up and seeing next to no hate whatsoever for Skeleton Crew Online is such an incredible, refreshing feeling. Well, Jacob, you know what that means? It means that if something is actually at least done reasonably well, it's not going to get as much hate as what you actually think hate is. It's more criticism. It's not getting any criticism online because it doesn't deserve any criticism necessarily. And I know even Melvin's probably listening to me right now going, shut the fuck up, Rhino. Maybe. But I do even understand where Melvin's coming from. It's shit. It's not good. Certainly not good for Star Wars. But Jacob, you get nominee number 2 for that take right there. Did I see your member chat? Oh, sorry. Did I see your member chat? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm so sorry. And you had to pay $2 for me to see that. I apologize, SWA. Feel better, mate. For 8 months, thank you for your 8-month member support. I really appreciate it. And to all the members out there, appreciate all you. Feel better, mate. They'll probably do more Plagueis. That doesn't make me feel better, SWA. But thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for the super chat to remind me to go back and read it. Because I'm a retard. Yes, J.I. Acob. Hey, Quinton. All right, so Jacob gets nominee number 2. Nominee number 3. Now, I responded to this account. I responded to this tweet. I quote tweeted it this week. Ended up getting like 200 likes, which was nice. But it says, and this comes from Cat, Skeleton Crew Era. Is it a new account? Hold on 1 second. Oh, no, it's not. It's certainly not a new account. Pronouns in bio, of course. I love when Star Wars is hot droids. These people need help. That's what these people fucking need. Fucking help. Hot droids. Apparently this pirate fucking one-peg-legged pirate skeleton fucking droid is hot. Yeah. What? What? Do you speak English? What? Like, seriously. Can't be serious right now.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Did that echo? That probably echoed because I'm sharing my screen. I'm sorry. But what are you talking about? And then nominee number 4. I had to bring this up. So Alex here. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Alex here. If I see anyone, and I mean anyone, bully these kids from Skeleton Crew, we're throwing hands. Yes, it did echo. It's gay. We're throwing hands, are we? Well, I think I actually responded to this one as well. Basically, like, this pisses me off because this is a preemptive strike. This is a preemptive strike to basically have a justification or a defense against any form of criticism towards the show. And this is where it's kind of funny that it's actually not getting quite the criticism that these guys even thought that it was going to get. Because see, these people just think that the Star Wars fandom and the Star Wars fan base is just this massively toxic, racist, sexist, misogynistically bigoted fan base. Whereas if they actually listened to the criticisms, they would actually realize that it's seated in none of that. It's actually seated in more a love of actual Star Wars and wanting to see the lore and canon and continuity of Star Wars honored and kept good. So there are your 4 nominees for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put the poll in the chat here. And I fucking hate it because also too, that preemptive strike that they did has affected the way people are talking about this. I feel. Now, let me just say this. Even though it has affected the way they might be talking about it, and maybe not, because what some of the things that they're actually saying are like honestly legitimate. Disney Star Wars is trash, guys. Absolute trash. It always has been, and it always will be, no matter whether or not you get something like Skeleton Crew or something like The Acolyte. It's not good, and it all leads to the same fucking place. They've made it very, very clear, I think, to absolutely everybody by now, or at least they should have made it very clear to everybody by now that they are not, quote unquote, correcting course. They are full steam ahead on this bullshit canon that they have created and destroyed themselves, to be completely honest. And there's no sign of turning back. There's no sign of any of that. No matter whether or not you get a competent writer, competent filmmaker. I agree with that. Their side is more, quote unquote, toxic, way more than quote unquote our side. Fucking thing. There's Star Wars fans and there's not Star Wars fans. And the Star Wars fans that know Star Wars and know the ins and outs and want the lore to be what the lore is, and that's where their criticisms and everything come from, are actual Star Wars fans. If these other people can't see that, then what are they a fan of? It's not Star Wars, because Star Wars is what we are trying to basically defend, right? It's like for years now, people have been using the sayings that Star Wars is saved, Star Wars is back. Oh man, this is peak Star Wars. Star Wars is saved, Star Wars is back. Oh man, this is peak Star Wars. This is better than the fucking sequels. This is better than the original trilogy. But then, like, when something like this comes out and they start saying the same things, it's like, what is it being saved from exactly? You loved everything. You've loved everything. What's being saved? Are you talking about the fandom being saved? Because no, that means you're so disconnected from what the actual criticisms are of these shows from actual Star Wars fans. Because again, it's kind of like the people that have like Trump derangement syndrome and stuff like that. You know, they can never give like a, you know, oh, I'd never go for Trump because he's racist. Oh, what makes him racist? What did he do? What did he actually do? Oh, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. It's the same fucking thing when it comes to Star Wars lore and canon and stuff. Like, this shouldn't be happening because of this, and this. It's like, oh, you're a racist. Oh, you're a sexist. You're a misogynistic that just can't let us fans have our fun. What are you talking about? I'm a Star Wars fan telling you what's wrong with this from a Star Wars perspective, and you're shutting it down? Why? Because Manny Jacinto has sexy arms? Because the lightsaber's throbbing at his throat? Anyway, there are your 4 nominees for this week. And I'm sorry, guys, we were going to watch episode 3 of Shield Wars, but I'm not feeling good. So we're not going to do that. I'm sorry. I need to eat something. I still want to play fucking some Call of Duty, but I'm not streaming if I do that. And just chill, kick back, play the new map. So yeah, get your votes in. To all the people that come in, rewatch the streams, I just want to know, I appreciate you. Did you catch COVID, Ryan? Yeah. Dying over here. He has what? Well, that's what everybody says. Like, oh, he's so sexy. He's got sexy arms. Fucking, I want him and Ahsoka to bang. Maybe May can sit in the corner and watch, seeing as she can't remember either of them anymore. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, to everybody coming in, rewatching the stream, or any of the lurkers right now that are watching, appreciate all you guys. Just chilling, sitting back, listening. You might be driving. You might be just chilling on the couch. But thank you. To all the people contributing in the chat, you guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you guys. To everybody who's a member, has been an ongoing member, even to the ones that have got a gifted membership, I appreciate all of you. To everyone that super chatted, it always helps. It really does. Little bits and pieces here and there, it definitely makes a difference. Get better. I will. Oh, I feel like I've been sick since I got back from America, and like I was sort of holding it back because I couldn't be sick, and like now it's sort of hitting me a little bit harder, but I'm still able to keep going, and I need to try and keep going. I can't let this put me down. So I'm just flooding myself with drugs like Panadol and paracetamol and Nurofen and stuff like that. Just trying to kill it. Taking vitamin C and some other vitamins as well. But yeah. How are we going on the poll here? Let's see. Oh. It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Drugs. Take it easy, yeah. Yeah, well. I'll be all right. Like I said, I'll push through. I've gotten through worse. I just can't stop at the moment. I need to make money. I need to be able to work, sell cars. Did I break the tie? No. If I'm watching anything right now, it's tied up. We got 21 people voted. How many people are still here in the stream? We got 31, 32 people. We can get a couple more. So just if you're just coming in, this is nominee number one. This is for Seal of the Week. So get your votes in. Nominee number one is Darth Thunder. The Acolyte was magnificent. We got Jacob, who was talking about Skeleton Crew not having any hate out there. Was nice. We got Kat, who's a weird one, that says, I love when Star Wars is hot droids. And then you've got Alex here talking about how the kids better not be bullied in Skeleton Crew. Can we get another? If possible, could you make your vote between 1 and 3, sorry. Removing where we are removing 2 and 4 from being able to be voted on. 1 and 3 are the only 2 that you can choose right now. And then everybody comes in picking number 2, right? I guess you pick the one that you feel is right, but if I could break the tie, that would be good. The lurkers are like, no, fuck you, I'm lurking, man. I can't do it. trying to hold up this piece of plaster, get it up against the wall, trying to drive my truck. Darth Ghostface voted for number 4, which was Alex on the kids. I know which one I would vote for. And it did have the lead there for a little while. All right, we got 22 votes in, which did break the tie. So we are going to end it there before it does tie back up again. So, ending the poll. All right. In last place with 13% of the vote was Alex, was this tweet here. If I see anyone, and I mean anyone, bully these kids from Skeleton Crew, we're throwing hands. In third place, or second last place, with 18% of the vote was number 2, Jacob, J.I. Jacob. Oh, I wonder what that does to his total. Again, I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to go through the streams and just skip ahead to Seal of the Week and just take down some numbers. So J.I. Jacob with 18% comes second last. In second place with 31% of the vote was the one that I would have picked, which is Kat, Skeleton Crew era, says, I love when Star Wars is hot droids. Fucking weirdo. And the winner of this week's Seal of the Week, Darth Thunder might actually have a chance of taking it, to be honest with you. With 36% of the vote was Darth Thunder, saying the Acolyte was magnificent. Congratulations, Darth Thunder. You win this week's Seal of the Week.
I'm all the Jedi.
We got the seal clapping emojis. Well, that's it, guys. That's another week of Casual Rage down. We got 5 more to go, and we're at 200. I really want to try and make 200 kind of special. Get some guests, have some sort of different kind of topics, maybe. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to do something special for 200 for you guys. But thanks again to everyone for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Next week, obviously, we've only got 1 episode to break down. Not that we really even broke down these episodes. There's not much there, guys. Honestly, there's not much there at all. Oh, yeah, there you go. Soul Assassin dropping the link to the Jack Show. Go and check that out. Hannah's getting big, guys. She's going to pop soon. But yeah, go check out the Jack Show. Awesome. Oh, Matt Wilkins. Yes, I need to remember him. I need to get him on. Definitely for 200. Definitely. Come on and have a chat. We'll talk about some books. Great stream as usual. I appreciate that. Bet that chick who likes droids. Imagine that. Just spitting on it. All right, that's enough. All right, awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. We'll be breaking down episode 3 of Skeleton Crew and obviously going through any other Star Wars news. I'm hoping next week, we might end up trying to watch maybe a couple of videos, maybe even a couple of Shill Wars so that we can sort of catch up a little bit quicker. Because, I want to watch them, but I'm intentionally not watching them so that I can actually watch them with you guys. Because these have been out for a little while. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks again. We'll see you next week. I keep saying it. So we're just going to go. Let's see. What have I got here? All right. Later, guys.
Put a ticket in and make her name it gay!
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
A few minutes? Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
No, what is it? You have to shoot this. Traveling through hyperspace is like Dustin Crop's kid. Without precise calculations, we fly too close to a store, or bounce into a supermarket, and then
Yeah.
it'll be a hell of a mess.
What's that?
Watch. You're losing the deflector shields. Go strap yourselves in. Be careful on the way out.
Yeah, sure. I'm taking it very cautiously.
You go away.
We bounced too near a supermarket?